Warning, the following video contains spoilers, but just keep watching. Hello everybody and welcome to the Derek Ruby Show. I am your host, the previously mentioned Mr. Ruby, and now it's the end of September and all the Halloween candy's in the stores, so for the rest of this month and next month, it's going to be Halloween month on the Derek Ruby Show. And what better way to start that with our 13th episode than with Friday the 13th, the 1980 classic. So the movie starts off with two counselors sneaking upstairs to go fuck, as we see the killer walk through a cabin, and we get to hear that iconic horror music that we all grew up loving. And then we get to see our first two kills for the entire franchise. Then we move on to a counselor named Annie, and she's trying to get to Camp Crystal Lake. And she's asking around town, and she runs into a crazy old man named Ralph, and he just tells her all kinds of shit.
You're going to Camp Blood, ain't you? You'll never come back again. It's got a death curse.
In modern times, we would call him a crackhead. So she hitchhikes to the camp, gets dropped off, and then she gets picked up by a Jeep and jumps out of it. And then we get our second kill for the movie. And we see the other counselors, and we see a young Kevin Bacon in one of his earliest roles. He sweet talks one of the other counselors to go upstairs and help him sizzle his bacon. And once they get done with that, she leaves to go take a piss, and he leans back and lights up a joint, and he feels some blood dripping on him. And then we get one of the most iconic kills of the entire movie. Not too bad for the character Jack there. I mean, he got to have sex and get high, and that's how he got taken out. Not too shabby. In the meantime, while this is going on, the other counselors have the idea to play Strip Monopoly. And you should see the look on Alice's face when she finds out that they're playing Strip Monopoly.
What? We're going to play Strip Monopoly. I'll be the shoe. You have got to be kidding.
I mean, for Christ's sakes, if you want an orgy that bad, just forget the board game and get on with it. To be honest with you guys, I don't even know if the kids today would relate to Strip Monopoly. I mean, they'd probably be better off relating to, like, Strip Pokemon Go. And we flip back to the girl who just got done taking a piss, and she's sitting there smiling in the mirror, and she hears some noises, and she's looking around. And then she dies in the most unrealistic way, because when she opens a curtain in the shower, she turns around and she just stands there and screams. She doesn't move her arms, she doesn't back up, she doesn't try to cover her face, she doesn't do nothing but scream. I mean, just look at this. I mean, could you imagine if you were watching something like Dragon Ball Z and when Goku went to go fire the Kamehameha, his villain just stood there and just screamed like that? You fool! I can't picture any scenario where a real life person would do that, but as cheesy as it is, it's still funny and iconic. So then we get a handful of more kills off camera, and of course the main protagonist of the story decides to go check it out because that's what everybody does in these movies. So she finds one of her friends dead, runs into the house, tries to barricade herself in there, and then the killer throws one of the bodies through the window. As she sees the Jeep pulled up, she runs outside and she meets Mrs. Voorhees. Now Mrs. Voorhees comes off as a very sweet, nice lady.
Well, I'm Mrs. Voorhees, an old friend of the Christies.
Oh,
And she comes in there and sees the bodies, and then she reveals the backstory of Jason's death.
Did you know that a young boy drowned the year before those two others were killed? The counselors weren't paying any attention. They were making love while that young boy drowned. His name was Jason. I am Jason.
And then, of course, she tries to kill her. Now, the girl kicks her ass and gets out of the way, and she runs to the car, and she sees one of the bodies in the Jeep, and then another body comes flying from the tree. It's a very, very unique setup and a very good shot. Then she runs and tries to get a gun, and for the second time, Mrs. Voorhees catches up with her, and she kicks her ass again. Now, as to why she doesn't finish her off, I have no idea. So then she goes and hides for a third time, and she hides in the most obvious place, a storage closet, and Mrs. Voorhees busts the door open and tries to kill her again. And for the third time, she kicks her ass, and instead of finishing her off, she runs away. Now, I don't know about you, but the first time somebody tries to kill me, I could see myself running away the first time. The second time, if I beat their ass the second time, I'm probably going to go ahead and finish them off right then. I'm not just going to leave them there and just assume it's going to be alright. But after she kicks her ass for the third fucking time, she runs down to the lake, and then she just sits there and waits. And Mrs. Voorhees, who didn't learn her lesson from the 3 ass whoopings she just took, she comes after her and tries to get her again. And the result of this, she ends up getting her head chopped off. Now, if my calculations are correct, there were 9 total kills in this movie, and all perpetrated by women. So go girl power. That's 9 home runs for women empowerment. Beyonce is dancing in the street somewhere. So then the girl, Alice, she gets in the boat and she goes into the lake, and then they start playing some music to let you know that everything's okay and she survived. And you see the cops pulling up. And then the movie gives you one last jump scare as Jason comes out of the water and drags her into the lake. And that part was pretty awesome. And then, of course, the girl wakes up in the hospital, the cops talk to her, and she asks them about the boy, and they said that they didn't see no boy, and she says, then he must still be out there. And that's the way the movie ends. Now, I grew up watching Friday the 13th movies, but most of the ones I saw at first had Jason in them. So the first time I saw Friday the 13th, I had no idea that his mother was the killer. And then the twist at the end with Jason coming up out of the water, that just gets you every time. Now, I was born in 1981, not 1980, so obviously I didn't see this in the theater. But I can only imagine what it was like for people to watch that the first time, especially because Betsy Palmer had a certain kind of squeaky clean image, and nobody would ever suspect that she was the killer. Unfortunately, Betsy Palmer passed away in 2015, so thank you, Betsy Palmer, for all the memories. May you rest in peace. So Friday the 13th, how does it hold up? It actually holds up pretty well. For a movie that was supposed to be a Halloween ripoff, it actually took the slasher genre all the way through the generation of the 80s. It's clever, it has a Jaws feel to it. Sure, the acting can be cheesy sometimes, pacing can be kind of slow, but the stuff that they set up is brilliant and the music makes the entire movie. So I'm going to go ahead and give Friday the 13th 4 stars. So thank you guys for listening to The Derek Ruby Show. You can follow me on Twitter at Derek Ruby Show. You can follow me on Facebook at The Derek Ruby Show. I invite you guys to join me next week as we will continue our Halloween month. Let me know what you guys thought about Friday the 13th, and I'll see you next time.